And so that's why I brought Lauren in, who's got some great experience with Facebook ads and has been really successful with selling products online using Facebook ads. So she's on today to kind of step us through the process she uses. It may not be the right process for us. You know, with all these things, there's more than one ways to do it, but at least they'll give us some good insights, I think, on what we're looking to do. And maybe we'll learn some things about Facebook we just didn't know before as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Lauren.
Awesome. Thanks for the intro. So I've heard a bit about, you know, I'm always talking about Jane with Richard, and I've definitely, Michael, it's nice to see you again. And Kevin, I've heard about you, and I've heard that your team is dynamite. So it's a pleasure to be talking to you, all three of you today. And, you know, Facebook ads is one of those things, social media ads, one of those things that, you know, I'm in it every day, day in and day out for clients. I've helped like brands like American Express with their social media strategy, Virgin Airlines, that kind of thing. And just because I niche down, particularly on these ads, I'm hoping that maybe I can help out. And of course, you bringing your domain expertise and the types of things that I see coming out of both Jane and, you know, I think that ET Water does an awesome job online. I'm hoping that all of us can combine and really find a predictable way to build recurring revenue for you, so you can just scale that up and reach a lot of people.
Awesome.
So I put yeah, cool. And today, if there's anything, I mean, we can take this anywhere that you want. I put together a presentation of kind of the process that I go through, but feel free, interrupt me. Let's make this interactive. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about you and ask a lot for your expertise throughout the call, so that we can build this out together.
Very good. Okay, good deal.
Cool. So let's see. Just so you, for reference, I have, I added a presentation, and that's the presentation that I'm going through today, in the calendar invite, if you ever want to reach or, you know, get to that again. But I will go ahead and share my screen now, so that, you know, I'll kind of drive and
just so you guys know, I might not have sent you the I might not have forwarded the latest calendar invite. So I'll be doing that here momentarily.
Okay, thank you, Richard.
Great. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so I'll go ahead and go into presentation mode. And I broke this down into 4 weeks. We can modify it. I sort of just had a little plan so that we could take everything step by step. And today, this is kind of our itinerary of what we're going to go through, getting inspiration, how I stalk the competition so we can steal from other people on Facebook and get inspiration from what they're doing, and then go through our marketing funnel and then establish some benchmarks so we know that we're successful together, and some KPIs, and then talking about how we can build audiences on Facebook. So that might include, you know, uploading your list and creating a lookalike audience, or targeting people who are interested in the same things that you do, or, you know, that similar products. And then we'll walk away with some action items, and you can ask me anything about anything. So today, I want to make sure that you all walk away knowing how to steal from other people's Facebook campaigns across any industry. And then again, benchmarks. And then I want us to have a really clear structure for how we're going to attract attention in these specific audiences and, you know, draw people to Jane and ET Water. And then next week, we'll go through, you know, how to actually create irresistible ads specifically for Facebook. You all know your, you know, marketing and sales funnels. So I'm hoping to get all your knowledge, and then we'll combine with my platform knowledge and go from there. So part 1, marketing funnel inspiration. As you know, you have your marketing funnel where it starts with awareness, interest, consideration, and then people intending to buy, and then they figure out which solution they're going to go with, and then they make the purchase. When we apply this to Facebook, we call it TOF, top of funnel. And that's, our cold audience, people who don't know about us yet. And then middle of funnel, people who've heard about you. Maybe you want to give them more information about your brand and why you're successful, or, why you can make them successful. And then bottom of funnel. And most Facebook marketers they either call it tofu, mofu, and bofu, or TOF, MOF, POF. So if I throw out those terms, you'll know, and I'm talking TOF, MOF, POF, you'll know what it is. So on Facebook, a lot of times people throw out ads and then they want you to take an action. And the most minimal version of this that we see usually is, you'll see an ad and then they take you to an e-commerce page and they expect you to buy right away. So there's a really cool tool called Facebook Ads Library. And if you go to the link, you can click straight into it. If you're in this presentation, you can click on the images. And you can take this and see any brand, what Facebook ads they've run, either actively or inactive.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but just keeping with this, any ads we run, anybody else who's on Facebook is going to be able to see our ads and see how successful we were.
Yeah, well, they can see how much money you spent. They can't link it to your own site activity. But
right. Yeah, so that's really interesting. Why does Facebook allow that? Any idea?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sure will help us, but.
Yeah. So here we can see that, this brand has spent $5,259 between 2018 and 2020.
On all ads or on just these ads?
On Facebook ads.
Okay.
And I filtered it by US. So if you're looking at an international brand, you could go globally and then this number will change. And then you can click into the ad and see that shows you where the ad takes you. Or you can see ad details. And sometimes this right panel will show you a lot of details about who it goes, who saw this ad, how much did they spend, what were the demographics, that type of thing. But moving back to the presentation, this is mostly the most minimum.
Can we go back to the other page again? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So one more back. They really stopped advertising, in 2020, it looked like.
So let's see, Facebook Ads Library. Here we go.
Yeah, right
so
there.
They have actually, it looks like 8 active ads right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But spending very little, $5,000 in the last, how much time?
Since 2018.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
So they've got a lot of ads going. They're not spending a lot of money. So because they're not finding people that aren't clicking, these look like pretty good ads to me.
It depends on how it's performing for them, and maybe they don't have a lot of budget. One thing we can see is, let's see, their domain is .com. So this is a little, and I'm sort of jumping, but it's a good segment. So I go to spyfu.com, and what these guys do is they allow you to see ads from Google Ads. And I've usually found that people who spend a lot on Google Ads tend to spend a lot on Facebook, and maybe not. It depends on who their marketer is, that kind of thing. But we can see here that they spend a I'll just move that a little. They spend an average of 1.26K per month on paid search ads.
Okay.
And their organic competitors, this is a fun tool. You can see who they're competing with organically and who they're competing with.
Hunter and HydroWise, Richard.
Yeah, both on there. That's interesting, isn't it? And Sprinkler Warehouse, too. We knew they'd be on there.
Orbit. Oh, yeah, Orbit's coming up right behind them.
Yeah, they're doing all the Smart Bee or whatever it is, controllers for indoor.
And this is, I'm using right now the free account. So you can get all this information free. They limit you a certain number of queries every day, but you can see here, these are the keywords that they're paying for. So smart sprinkler controller, they're paying $1.25 and spending about $600 a month on that. And then it shows you recommendations. So it seems to me like they're just dipping their toe into Facebook, and whether or not it's they aren't getting the ROI or what, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but this is the most minimum funnel we see. And it works well when you have a product that doesn't cost a lot, where you can just say, here's us, here's the benefit, now go buy it.
Right.
Yeah, this particular product is very transactional. I mean, it's you can get it at Home Depot for $129. I mean, that's so that's what they're doing here, right? So it's just a very transactional ad. So it'll be interesting because Lauren, we're in the commercial, so we have a bit more of a sales cycle. And having sort of the higher price points in that to our products, our technology and products in that, be interesting to see how you translate this more to a commercial sale versus a retail sale. So.
Definitely. Well, I'm glad you asked, because now we're going to high value funnels.
There's that New York connection happening.
Yeah.
You guys are always a step ahead of us. You New Yorkers, you walk fast, you talk fast.
So when we're looking at high value funnels, so I'm going to talk about a little bit later in the presentation, a way that everybody is doing Facebook wrong right now. It's sort of the myth of Facebook that you can just throw up an ad and get people to buy. But when you're dealing with these, higher value products, you have to warm them up. Just like you're, a sale. If you go and you try to sell someone socks, they'll probably buy. But, like the higher value, of course, you have to nurture someone in person. So State Farm does an okay job with this. If you click on this image, you can see more of the ads that they do. But here's just one example. Winter is here. There's black ice. And so they are kind of doing a seasonal thing, how to watch for ice. They target people with a little video. And then if you click to the video, they send you to their insights portal. And they have this article on how to stay safe on black ice. And then from there, if you click on this ad and you interact with it, State Farm will move you to middle of funnel. And in middle of funnel, they're going to introduce you to your local rep. And if you decide, I like this local rep, I think that they're one of the ones, this is a really popular strategy. It works okay. They'll say, Susie loves to read books on the weekend, and they'll target that at people who read books and interacted with the State Farm ads. And then they'll have you fill out the form to get a quote.
So in that realm, if we got somebody in the middle of the funnel, we could actually introduce them to one of our distributor partners.
Definitely. Yeah.
And our distributors would love us for that.
Yeah.
That's almost the auto model, isn't it?
Sorry?
But you know, I'm thinking like Auto Trader and services like that, where they ultimately introduce you to a car dealership.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
do a lot. They do a qualification and they get you in at that high level in terms of what you're, you know, what you're looking for, what your time to buy is, what your decision criteria. They collect all that, and then sort of like the next stage, they're they're, they're farming your name in that out to local dealerships.
yeah, yep. And Toyota is doing a really good job at exactly that, as well as BMW. I almost included that in here, but we've got a lot to go through, so I didn't.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
But definitely they're worth looking into. And you can go right to this Facebook ads library and kind of stalk their ads. And you'll be able to tell, you know, top of funnel, what's brand awareness, and then, you know, the ads where they're connecting you with the dealer, of course, is middle or more bottom of funnel. And one thing that everybody is really excited right now about on Facebook is you can use locations. So they have foot traffic. So Facebook can see if someone went to one of these local dealers.
Mm.
And then they can, you know, Toyota can then hit people with, here's why you should go back and actually buy this car. And here's why you need, you know, the all leather air conditioned seats, this and that.
So when you go to middle of funnel, is this something Facebook actually tracks for you, or this is something we're going to have to use our CRM for?
So this is something, we'll go into this later in the presentation when we start building audiences. But basically, Facebook helps you build these audiences, but you have to initially set them up. So for example, one thing we'll track is how many people came to our ads and then watched, you know, went to your site and watched a video, you know, a webinar replay or whatever. How many people filled out a form, anything you want. You can set, okay, we want all the people who came to this website, clicked on our ad, came to the website, filled out the form, but haven't yet become a sale for us. And
Right.
That's how you target them. And
Okay.
once you have that set up, unless it's a CSV upload where you are manually uploading it, like say, for example, if you have Salesforce, if you have WordPress, WooCommerce, any of that stuff, it's auto uploaded.
Right.
But if you're, how are you tracking your sales?
In Facebook, we're not.
Just overall, is there anywhere, like, are you doing, you know, closed one on a CRM, or
I think
is there any
Kevin's doing
tech?
the best job of it on Hatchbuck right now.
Yeah. So we have Lauren. We have what do I want? A rudimentary CRM called
Okay.
Hatchbuck.
Okay.
I don't use all of the sort of the marketing and landing page functionality that I could, and then it's used for, you know, we have a sales team in that, and we do have some triggers in that in terms of actions and setting tasks for them, and then of course that's how we're are managing our close ratios and that. So.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I don't know Hatchbuck, but I'll do some looking into it and see if there's a way to auto populate that.
I would ask Lauren, because I've been asked by Richard to do a transition probably in the next two quarters from Hatchbuck to Net Dynamics, which is Microsoft CRM.
Yep.
So if you have any insight into Net Dynamics, I mean, I haven't had a lot of experience with Net Dynamics. I'm literally on the learning curve with it right now. There's other ones I'm more familiar with, but I'm looking at some structures with them right now. So if any of this that you know, if you know anything or able to in terms of as we go forward in that, any discovery in that around Net Dynamics and how we could leverage that, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. I have one client who sells aftermarket truck parts, and they use Net Dynamics, and I've done some integration work there. I don't know a lot about it from a, user perspective, but maybe I can, if I can't help, I'm happy to give you an intro and,
That'd
you can connect.
That'd be fantastic. Thank you.
Cool, great. So another example of a high level funnel or high value funnel is there's a guy named Sam Ovens, and he's, of course, the marketers are doing really well right now with this kind of thing. He sells a $1,500 introduction to consulting product, and then it's a $5,000 part 2 of his product. And he is really doing Facebook ads the right way, where most people are asking you to just go and buy. He's creating more of a buzz feed, but it's from his brand. So he knows that he has a target audience of people who have 9-to-5 jobs, and they want to figure out how to quit their 9-to-5 jobs and make more money than they're able to make at their work. And so he literally targets people with other people's content, with, here he has a pop quiz. And then on the left one, he is repurposing a video from Elon Musk. And this is the kind of thing that works really well right now, because most people go on Facebook to get content, to read, to feel good. And he's really helping people do that, to connect with what they want to become, as opposed to interrupting what they're trying to do in the newsfeed, which is interact with their friends, read the news, and have an image closer to who they want to become. So these are a couple of examples of his ads. And if you want, you can click on these and go to the ad library and kind of dig into them deeper. And then here's a couple.
I did. I wanted to read both those articles. They were better than anything I see on Facebook that my friends are posting.
Yeah. And I mean, he does a great job. I'll move, let's see. I don't want to lose the ability to see you both, but, and then this one, there's 2 ways to go about Facebook ads. One is stand out with a really bright colored background and really hit them with an ad that really stands out, or B, look like your other friends' Facebook content. And so you can see on the right here, it's a little weird. It's a little jarring. Why is this guy drinking a beer standing next to a dinosaur? And he even does studies on, you see that track of that loft that he's in, and you kind of do this with your eyes. You
right.
Just jump in there. Mm-hmm. So he does a great job with these ads. And of course, it's how to quit your job and have a life that you want. So he's, hitting these people sitting at their desks and, oh, I wish I could wear that every day, drink beer in the middle of the day or whatever. So
just curious, Lauren, you can't click on his ad now, can you? I'm just curious to see it. So if you clicked on,
let's see, let me escape out of here and then.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I can.
No,
I'm just curious. Yeah, I just want to see how he's repurposing this sort of general news and information to his.
So here's the weird thing. I don't really know what he does, right? He just does consulting on Facebook ads, right?
So he does consulting on how to start a consulting business. He sells a course.
Ah, okay.
So in this case, he's, this is a.
All right, he put the Rotten Tomatoes things down below too.
Yeah.
That's really good. Can he get in trouble for that?
I don't think so. I don't know, actually.
It's slightly different. I mean, one's just a box of popcorn, and it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have the branding, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. And then his video. Who knows how long this video is? But I've seen more and more people. There's one guy. His name is Kurt Maley, and he's like a Facebook guru, and he puts an hour and a half to 2 hour long webinars right on the Facebook news feed. And he lets people watch, 40 an hour. His average watch time is above 20 minutes. And he says, I don't care if they're interacting with me on my site or on Facebook, because either way, I get to track that and I'm building a relationship with them. So that's people who are doing really well right now. They're just hitting people with this interesting information rather than saying, hey, buy my product, I'm amazing.
Right. So if we go back to their ad library, or one thing I was noticing was he's selling consulting to anybody who's a business person. So we need to kind of stick with our campaign of, we're going to help you be a better contractor, promote water management. This is how you're going to get more customers.
Definitely. And I wanted to find some campaigns that were, really good in your industry, but it looks like you're going to be first.
We're going to be cutting edge on Facebook. Have you ever heard of Facebook? We're going to be like Facebook pioneers in 2020.
Definitely. Yeah. So let's see. I'm going to go back.
We couldn't take our skill to any other industry, but we can do it in ours.
You could take your skill to any industry. So just like we're talking about, everybody has a current state and then they have a desired state. And what we really want to speak to is this gap. And really good ads, top of funnel, they attract people in their current state. They agitate them on, hey, do you never have enough product when you start a job, or do you not have it, or whatever? Here's why ET Water or Jane helps you with that problem. And then, position your brand as the action plan, the gap to desired state.
Yeah, good.
And then here's our differentiator, and why I think you won't hear this from, if you do a Facebook training or whatever, you won't hear this from, there are probably 5 people right now who would tell you this, and everybody else wouldn't tell you this. But pretty much as consumers, everybody on Facebook is hitting us with these banners. We sell boxes, we speak Spanish, whatever, grand opening. And this is it's about the brand. It's not about the customer. And it's everything we're trying to avoid. Don't market to us, make us more, instead help us be a consultant, or give us this viral content like BuzzFeed does so well. We can't get enough of that. So, and then we already talked about, and here I just go through and I list this. Here's an example of from the Facebook ads library. And you can see, this ad ran from October 3rd to October 10th. They spent less than $100, and here's who they showed it to. And you can click that directly and look into it a little more. This is a pretty mediocre ad, I would say, but it's more relevant, water management, a little bit more relevant. So I added it.
Good.
And
Good.
then here I list.
It's amazing. So what's interesting about it is that, right, that's the MP rotator. But somebody else is advertising Hunter's product for him. But I don't know how many people would recognize that as an MP rotator. But anyway, that's good.
Huh, interesting. And then I just listed some more places for inspiration if you want to dig in and see this stuff. Play around with, see what other people are doing. One that's really cool, competitors.app, is, and it's not .com, it's .app. If you want to see, like, who are you playing against right now that you're really, maybe is doing a decent job online? Is there anybody?
Well, no, let's look at HydroPoint.
There you go. That's more one-to-one. Yep.
Yeah. So one thing that I do for my clients, I sign up on competitors.app, and then you can see anytime HydroPoint does something like they post a new Instagram post, they post on Twitter, they change a page on their website or add a new page. So that's really cool because you can always see any promos that any of your competitors are doing, and it just sends you an email.
Like a Google alert. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. So let's talk about Jane and ET Water's marketing funnel. So let's see. For these campaigns specifically, let's go into who you're thinking you want to target and how you want them to discover you, that kind of thing. Can you walk me through kind of what you're thinking or doing already, that kind of thing?
So strictly online, right? I mean, we have our strategy has been basically content marketing with blog articles from the Jane side, and put those articles out there to get organic interest into our website. If you look, our top 10 pages, 8 of them were blog articles last year. And we've brought people to our website. We've put a link to our store from the blog site, but we haven't been very good in transitioning that over. From Kevin's side and ET Water, he's done a really good job of email campaigns that have driven people back to the ET Water website. But we probably need to do a better job. I don't know, Kevin. I think you're doing a great job, and I don't want to take away from it, but I think we're getting the information, and then and I think this is true on the James side, on the AgriValley side, and on the ET Water side. And Kevin, you're probably doing it the best, but we get these leads and we never know what happens to them.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Kevin can probably document it, but we're getting a lot more leads from AgriValley and Jane that we're not documenting right now.
Okay. Yep. And
would you agree, Kevin? Did I speak out of turn?
Yeah, that's a good assessment, Richard. Yeah. So we can make impressions, Laura. We can drive awareness. We can even get engagement. We can even get them into middle of funnel. But there's a drip, I guess. We have done drip in the past. We have been successful with drip in the past. And then, I think Richard would agree in that we also working on processes with bottom of funnel. So
yeah, awesome. And do you have multiple personas that you're working with? Do you have one that you want to focus on for Facebook ads, or what are you thinking there?
At the end of the day, Lauren, so as I mentioned, versus it's interesting that you got into Rocchio and that. So Rocchio, they're a residential. They do residentially what we did commercially and what we've been doing for over 15 years. They just came into the market in 2015, but there wasn't a residential solution before them really for what we did. So you either had to go with an expensive, or for most homeowners, what would be expensive solution with us. So they they stepped into that market, into that residential space. So in terms of then our target personas, Lauren, there is the people who use our system, interacted with it day after day, who answer to the business owners and the property owners and that who pay the bills. So that's the landscape contractors. Landscape contractors are not necessarily, in terms of our product's value propositions, Laura, landscape contractors are, and Richard is involved in a whole evangelization. This has been a big part of his career to change the thinking in the industry around this. But I'm going to go out and say that the landscape contractors, some of them, because they're very small businesses, they're not water conservation conscious. They're about, getting a maintenance contract for a property and holding on to that at all costs.
Well, Kevin, I've only been trying for 20 years. The 21st is going to be a big year.
but all there's disruption, and Rockio is a disruptor in it, right? So that's we're seeing this more change faster. Maybe, and Richard, you could speak to this. Maybe you're seeing more change faster in the last 3 to 4 years than you've seen maybe in 15. But then the other key target persona, Lauren, is the business owner, the property owner who pays the water bills, and who cares now with a fast escalating cost of water was not a driver in years past, but in recent years, water is becoming more expensive. It's probably it increases annually more than any other utility, and so finally there is sensitivity around spending water on landscaping and that. So plus also what you know about in the West with droughts, and actually there's 40 states that have problems with water infrastructure in one form or another, and it's having an impact on their users in that. So they're the ones, the decision makers, if you will, that they look to a technology to solve their problems there and what they're spending, and just giving them better insight, right? Because if on average 50% of the water you use on your grass or your flower beds or your trees or that is wasted, is overwatering in that. So that's just 50% of cost there, let alone that it's really not good for the healthier landscape. Yeah. So that message is, landing, and it's landing with the right folks in that. But then the people that we have to deal with as a manufacturer, the landscape contractors, they have different drivers. They're trying to increase their businesses, and that really what they've responded most to in our product, Lauren, is the remote access, being able to use an app, use an ET Water app, and change the irrigation schedule, or turn it on, turn it off remotely. That's new in the industry, believe it or not. That's only a development in the last 3 to 4 years. Yeah. So it's becoming, yeah. So that's there. So that's that may be a little long, but that's the different agendas of as I see the two target personas. I guess there's a third one in there, Richard, which is the distributor, which Jane is very conscious of in terms of pushing our business or pushing those leads in that to distributors. Is that correct?
Right. And then the other thing I think we want to think about too is our ag products. When we advertise our ag products on Facebook, we believe that they will be hitting the feed of potential users. So almost like the Rockio model, where here's what we have, here's a link to it, go buy it.
Yeah.
So we have all these, plus, we want to do eventually Facebook ads for AgriValley and IDC, and they're going to be direct, hey, 20 off a pair of gloves, come in the store this weekend and give this code.
Yeah. They're going to be like those sprinkler warehouse ads, except not for homeowners, actually for farmers. So
yeah. And are you focusing on West Coast, or regionally, or you want to go countrywide?
I think for Jane, we're really focusing on the Central Valley to start with.
Yeah. And
Kevin, where do you see yourself hitting?
We well, traditionally, and because of where our sales force is based, Lauren, they're mostly out here. It's mostly west of the Mississippi, with the exception where we've pitched enterprise clients who have sort of multiple outlets and a portfolio that's nationally based, nationally distributed. So I'm talking sort of like Wells Fargo and that. So, but certainly, I mean, we want to. This is and then I don't know if you know this, Lauren, but maybe it's good just because Richard just mentioned agriculture. So there's really two groups at Jane. There's the ag group. Those are ag products, and for all intents and purposes, it's focused on growers, farmers.
Yeah.
Michael has done a lot of work in pardon the pun, cultivating the cannabis industry.
Yep.
And then the other side of Jane, where ET Water lives, is the landscaping business. So that's where we're dealing more with these commercial properties, municipalities, your local parks and rec and everything like that, and in terms of managing the irrigation and that for their facilities and that. So that's why. And I'm going to wrap this back to the target personas and that. So the ag target personas and the landscape target personas are going to be somewhat different.
Yeah.
Michael, do you see any other territories you think that you're reaching or we need to reach that we haven't talked about or we've missed?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my thought on you saying the Central Valley as far as our target market for Jane goes, yeah, I believe it is, but I think one of the main reasons we want to use this is to develop, brand awareness in areas where we don't have staff to potentially, like there might be opportunities east of Mississippi where this is the most economical way to try to spread the word out there and keep it, because there's a lot of Facebook users on the East Coast where we're in a saturated market out here and we're competing with 5 to 10 of our biggest competition who doesn't sound like they're quite on top of it like they are. I mean, I know Hunter spends a lot of money on all these things, but as far as spreading it east would be my main concern with these ads is try to loop them in with items they're used to, like drip products, valves, simple things, and then segue that into more complex devices like ET Water and smart controllers.
Yeah, I think that's
Does that answer your question? Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And so, unfortunately, we have a two customer strategy here, right? Because we're marketing to our internal customers as well as our external. And so, one thing that we hear all the time is NetFM is doing a better job on marketing than we are. And part of the reasons why they are is they have billboards and they have that sign in the airport. So
in the one airport. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So Facebook's going to be our billboard and our sign in the airport to the Central Valley to all our internal customers too. We want them to really start recognizing, gee, you guys are popping up all over the place. And hey, that billboard was $180,000 a year. And you guys are doing this for $5,000 or whatever it is. So that's part of that plan, but also because of our two dealers. But I agree. I think that, we'd get a lot more business out of Florida and the Pacific Northwest and Texas with big landscape campaigns there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yep.
Very cool. And then when you think about these value drivers, like for example, with the contractors and the remote access, do you already have content that you feel you could, use to really attract them or, bring them, capture their attention on, both sides, Jane, ET Water? Are there blog posts or maybe webinars or YouTube videos that you can think of already that sort of bring people to this space, get them sort of leaning forward and excited?
Yeah, I think that, for example, Michael just did a great ET Water commercial. It's showing our controller, showing some of the software. So I think that's, ready to go, for example. And I think if we look back through our blog posts or some of the things, Kevin, you've done in the past where, we've saved this HOA $200,000 in water the first year, or military, I think, we can create an ad around that to say, is water an issue for your HOA? Here's a potential solution.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think that the job for this week is to sort of start to gather that content and think about all of those, different things. And Facebook really likes it when you act more like a newspaper or a publication than an advertiser. So, these content things, even if it's a YouTube video that's like a commercial, anything that people interact with, right away, your cost per click is going to be a lot lower. And once we really get into this, you know, if it's going well, I have clients where we're testing 50 pieces of content at any given time. And, you know, you can test all of those for $5 a day. You know, it's really cheap. And if you have that good content that people are clicking on, Facebook will say, all right, you deserve to be seen, because you're competing, unlike Google, on like search intent. You're competing for people's attention. So, you know, okay, this farmer, this tractor company wants to attract them, your company wants to attract them, and Pokemon Go wants to attract them for some reason because they also showed interest there. So you're competing against different people, but if you have more compelling content than Pokemon Go and the tractors company, then your cost per click can be much, much cheaper. And, you know, you can get people to read or watch an hour of content for pennies.
And so, and Facebook will determine this based on the engagement of what we're doing.
Yep. Yeah. And so once we have these pixels live, you know, what it will do is it will say, okay, not only do we see how many people see this ad, but we're seeing how many people engage with it, and then how many people, what they're doing when they get to your actual website. You know, are they there? Are they staying for an hour, or are they staying for a second and then bouncing away? And then the other thing that's really cool is, you know, Facebook's algorithm, its job, you know, they do everything by helping people see the content that's going to keep them on Facebook. And so what they do really well is they use their algorithm to deliver the right kind of content to the right person at the right time. So that's why we build up such a big pool of content, so that Facebook just does what it does best. And it's just saying, okay, we know that this person is a contractor and they care a lot about this remote access. Or we know this person is a contractor and they care and really resonate with, how do I attract more jobs? And so then what it will do is it will then, you know, keep testing it and show just the right message to the right person. And then you know, bring people into your funnel. And then, you know, like Kevin, you can bring people into these drip campaigns and keep them engaged with emails, or you can bring them middle of funnel via Facebook and, you know, show them ads that way.
Yeah, perfect. In your experience, Lauren, sort of like taking this from 0 to 60 with all the steps in that, what do you see as sort of the sort of period of time? I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do very rapidly, right? But there's some of these pieces where we can put up a Facebook ad pretty quickly, but then to have really the appropriate content pieces on the website, to have the forms on the website, things like that. Have you seen in terms of executing what normally to get it up in a sort of this process running efficiently?
Yeah, so it really varies. And one thing that I've noticed a lot is, you know, SMBs are always faster than the big clients. Like it can take, for example, I did something similar with Loft, the women's fashion brand, and it took like 4 months to get something like this up. Usually it takes a couple weeks, maybe a month, but it just depends on, you know, how much time you have. I know you have a ton of other work to do. But you can always start with one funnel, see how it performs, and then build, you know, once you see that positive ROI, then build more out. Yeah, so it really varies. And then in terms of scaling up, how long is like your average sales cycle for, you know, the bigger ticket?
Well, when we start talking about sales that are on order of magnitude 50 to 100,000, that's typically a 9-month sales cycle.
Mm-hmm. All right. So You can get probably early indicators of lead quality faster than 9 months. But that you don't get as much data right away. So for,
I was just going to say also, I think the other measurement that we want here, in particular for ET Water, is, we don't have our 30 contractor partners laid out yet. So, adding a contractor partner, which is what we can do, by with our Facebook ads, is start to build more connection with more contractors. And, I think we count that as a win as well. And hopefully that'll be faster than the 9 months. But yeah, we have a long sales cycle.
Yeah, that is a really long sales cycle.
If we're able to have 30 partners that can do transactional ones and twos, right? So we can get that same volume on that scale.
Yeah. So I would say, you would something, so long-term, 9 months, a year, that kind of thing, you probably want to stay conservative until you have a sense of, how it's going. But like adding contractor partners, what's that normally? Is that something that happens quickly?
It can if we make the right connection with the right person. It's if you find the right person and they have a little bit of experience with us, it can happen within 4 to 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah, that's really fast. For something like that, I've seen people maybe scaling up about 20% in their spend per week. And then Facebook's kind of rule, it will mess with the algorithm if you scale up more than 20% in a given day.
Yeah.
So all this happens gradually. But yeah, I'm excited to see. And usually, within two sales cycles, like, is this really working, or, do we really need to go back to the drawing board?
So Lauren, when we've promoted posts and things like that on Facebook.
Yeah.
Is that considered an ad?
That's considered an ad, yeah.
So if we look at Jane on that one page, we can see how they did, right?
Yeah.
Can we do that now?
Yeah, sure. So boosting posts is a little bit, is a little bit different from what we'll do, because when we're boosting posts, we're basically just taking what's in the news feed. And do you want to do Jane?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just curious. It's Jane. Let's do that one.
Yeah.
Jane's. We have several,
Yeah. So this is a sponsored post. Best photos.
Yeah.
I'm sure Michael has taken some of these.
So I usually can tell by the photos pretty quickly. These look like Corey's.
Okay. All right. So you can see he spent less than $100. Showing the ad, California, Texas.
Okay. And so I know we did more than that, but that's the only one that's showing because it's only going back a year.
Let's see, actually, yeah, it might be, for some reason it's not in there. There is also like a minimum threshold. If you spent like $5 or something, it doesn't always show up.
Yeah. Now we spent some decent money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't get every single thing, which is why like a platform like AdBeat, which I put in the list, it's a paid platform, but they capture more of that stuff, and they give you more details.
Okay.
So let's see. And then I'm going to go back to present mode.
Okay, so back to what we really want to work on this week is we want to generate a couple ads, right?
Yeah, so we want to generate, what is that bed of content? And then, thinking about what do you want them to see on the feed? Where do you want them to go on the site? And what's the call to action? And it's okay if you don't collect any information, because Facebook is so good right now. It used to be, capture their email right away. And that's still awesome. It's a great way to go about it. But now with this kind of method, when we're creating really good content, you can get people back engaged with you for pennies. The call to action could be watch this video or download this PDF.
Yes. One thing I wanted to talk about, and I know we only have a few minutes left here, but a call to action of free water analysis from ET Water. Kevin, is that something you're ready to do? I don't mean you, but
Yes. Yes, the optimizer tool is working good. It's been
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Cool. Yeah. And then this is typically what a funnel looks like. Stage 1, we're going to engage with them. Stage 2, they're going to get the free water analysis. And then, stage 3, kind of we're just writing it out. And we can do this for each of the different personas. So that's sort of what I'm hoping we'll get to before next week, of just this, what content are we bringing them to? And if you want, I'm around all week and I'm happy to go through this with you. We can schedule another call. You can do it and we can come back and talk about it next week, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and so I think we're going to have to really, because it's the opportunity is so big if we think about our dealers and Jane and ET Water. So I think, Kevin, you're going to really focus on ET Water. And Michael, I think you're going to really focus on Jane, monitoring and control. And we'll just stick with those two to start, because the monitoring and control stuff we can duplicate on AgriValley and IDC if we get any momentum with it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Does that make sense, guys?
That's perfect. Works for me.
Okay.
I don't know how to build the ads. I mean, I know how to take pictures and send the photos to someone that builds the ad, but I don't know how to actually build the ad.
Yeah. So if you want to do a call next week, that I was planning and hoping we would do another one where we'll talk about how to take all this content and turn it into the actual ads.
Because you build that ad right on Facebook, right?
Yep. Yeah. And let's see. So I was too slow today. I don't want to waste your time. But basically, if you have 2 more minutes, I'll just go through it. Or if you want, we can stay on. It's totally up to you.
Yeah. Let's go the 2 more minutes and then we'll have to run.
Great. Okay. So basically, we're going to run through a rapid fire testing where we have these funnels where, we're doing Jane monitoring and control or whatever, and we have these personas in mind. We have an idea of what kind of content we want them to interact with, and then eventually how we're going to sell them, whether we hand them over to a sales rep or, they pay right on the site. And then we're going to test audiences. So we're going to say to Facebook, okay, here's our customer list, and we're going to try to show these ads to our customer list, versus we're going to have the same ads. We're going to show them to, or, a lookalike audience that looks similar to our customer list. Or we're going to show them to all the people who have, these certain behaviors or demographics. The landscape contractor is their job title, something like that. And then the other one would be, just a broad blanket, everyone in the Central Valley. And then you test all of those, and then you move into phase 2, where we're going to test our hooks and our lead magnets of these different ads. And then phase 3, we're going to optimize and fine tune. So next week we'll go over, how do we build these audiences? And then how do we start to go through and create these ads in the Facebook interface. So we'll jump, we'll spend most of our time in this business manager next week.
Okay.
And-
That's
and
why it's
so-
important for us to gather the information this week.
Yeah.
And Lauren, when we create the ads, and then we'll create them under the Jane login account. Is that right?
So actually, I think it makes sense to separate them out if you're okay with that, because then you can have the separate, tracking and pixels, and the one doesn't pollute the other.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
but ET Water doesn't have a Facebook page, right?
No, we don't. I have to take a look. We have a couple of dormant sites we set up, like Smart Irrigation or Smartest Irrigation. So
Yeah. So I'm thinking we should be promoting, well, let me think about that.
It's totally okay. You don't have to have a Facebook page. But what you do want is that pixel on the website that you're tracking. So, you're going to want to take people to ET Water, not to Jane, right?
well, that's a good question. So Richard, to what Lauren's saying,
Oh, I know where this
when,
is going.
when she says pixel, Richard, she's going to tell us either how to access a little piece of code, I think HTML code, and we're going to have Alan drop that into the janesusa.com/ET Water page.
Right.
Yeah. So actually it could be the same. I forgot that you moved that over.
We haven't moved it yet. We're right in the process. Or as soon as Alan gets back from India, we're going to do it. So that's why we're a little like, oh, gee, what do we do here?
Okay. Well, we'll think about it. We'll figure out the best way.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Lauren. I appreciate this. Thank you, Michael and Kevin, for joining. And hopefully this is going to help kickstart us into some new advertising that's going to get us some good business.
Now
Yeah.
this is fun.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, Lauren. Really,
yeah,
nice to meet you.
and as you gather this content, if you want to talk, all week, I'm really excited about what you're going to do, being first to market here. So email me, ask me anything. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm really excited for this.
So we'll do this again. Will we? Will we pick up same day and time next Tuesday? Is that the goal?
Same date, time, yeah.
Okay.
We'll be doing this date and time all through January.
Okay, fantastic. So Lauren, I have a couple of days off this Thursday, Friday, but I will look to definitely send you something first thing Monday morning.
Cool. Great. Enjoy your time off.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Bye.
Bye
All
now.
right, thanks, guys.
Trisha, how are you?